My fellow people of Southern Cameroons, my dear people of Ambazonia, I bring you revolutionary greetings this Wednesday, the 13th day of the month of March in the year of our Lord 2019. My focus today will be the new and resounding message that Yaounde, that Mr. Paul Biya's regime, has once more sent to those daydreamers who continue to call themselves Federalists, who continue to call themselves Unitarists among us, the Southern Cameroonians, among us, the Ambazonians. My dear people, I have pointed out here more than once that there are people who sometimes are slaves and don't even know it, that they are slaves, simply because there are some crumbs that are thrown to them once in a while, and simply because the same persons that enslave them continue to make them feel uplifted by flattering them, sometimes even with pet names that are reserved for animals. My dear people, sometime or a few months back, Mr. Paul Biya, in his usual manner, wanting to do what is called the divide and rule system and to continue to deceive some of those who are playing in his team against their own people, he went out and carried out some appointments. Just like the time when he brought Slave King Atanga Ponji to the Ministry of Territorial Administration, but before doing so, removed from that ministry decentralization, removed everything that could constitute Jews in that ministry before throwing the skeleton at Mr. Atanga Ponji. He did the same when he appointed directors general in some state corporations. And so it came to pass that Madame Achidi Achu Judith Yaounde was appointed Director General of CAMTEL. That was the first time somebody of Southern Cameroon's extraction, an Anglophone as they call it over there, was appointed to that prestigious position in such a huge company, in such a huge state-owned company. However, I think the celebrations have been really short-lived. I think they have been totally short-lived. I think Madame Achidi Achu Judith Yaounde today understands more than everyone else that what was given to her was simply a marriage. Yeah, she has held 2 successive board meetings, attempted to reorganize work at that corporation to enable her leave her own mark, to enable her at least be able to do work, the work for which she thought she was assigned. But unfortunately, after those 2 board meetings, she has quickly come to the realization that she is only a figurehead. And figureheads don't manage. Figureheads are managed. Figureheads are teleguided. So it came to pass that on the 11th of March, that's only 2 days ago, on the 11th of March, 2019, after a stormy board meeting at which Madame Achidi Achu Judith Yaounde was told outrightly that she will not be able to organize work afresh at CAMTEL, that she will only function what she met on the spot, and would even statements thrown at her to remind her that CAMTEL was an exclusive preserve of the people of the South region, and that it was by error that she was brought there. And if, therefore, that error materialized, that she finally found herself there, she simply, I mean simply, should sit quiet and let things be done. And if she liked, she put her signature on it. If she didn't care, they would even sign for her. Exactly what they went ahead to do. So at the end of that board meeting, it came to pass that for the first time in the history of CAMTEL, appointments were signed solely by the chairman of the board of directors, and the second signature became that of an administrateur, which means an ordinary board member signed in the place of the Director General. Because in the norms, if the board chairman has got to sign and some other person would co-sign, it will be the Director General. We have seen, because as I'm talking, I have before me about all the appointment decisions that were released during the time of Mr. David Nkoto Emane. He was appointed Director General at CAMTEL in 2005 until he was relieved last year. He signed several appointment decisions single-handedly, all alone. Before him, Nyamba Lutsiri did the same thing. Before him, all the other directors general of what at the time was called Intelcam did the same thing. But with the arrival of Madame Achidi Achu Judith Yaounde, things had to change, because someone who does not belong has been brought right into the parlor. And that is why the appointment decisions were signed by Muhammadu Saudi as board chairman and an administrator, because there was no portfolio they could give him. But of course, he was a representative of the presidency of the Republic, I.M. Mojer. So there is no other way that the so-called Federalists and the so-called Unitarians would be told that they don't belong. How else do you want to be told? On a daily basis, these things happen. On a daily basis, you are reminded that you are subhumans. You are reminded that you cannot even be considered as someone holding a position or be given a ceremonial role to sign. So when Madame Achidi Achu disputed the appointments, she was simply told to step aside. Oh yes, the all-powerful Minister of Posts and Telecommunications, Libom Likeminet, who is from the south, of course, piloted things along with her friends, the other board members, who are all from the same region. And then poor Madame Achidi Achu Judith, just realizing, like in our villages, when we were children, they assign you a goat. They say, this is your goat. This one is your own. You keep running around it. You take it to make sure it fits, to make sure, you take it to green pastures everywhere and all. As it is growing, you're appreciating it. But the day that goat is either to be sold or slaughtered, you know who the true owner of that goat is. That is exactly what has just happened to Madame Achidi Achu Judith Yaounde. She has now come to understand that she was caught in just to show to the world, just to deceive the world once more, that people of Southern Cameroon's extraction, who have decided to sell their souls and minds to Mr. Paul Biya-led Republic du Cameroon, at least hold some key positions of responsibility. But in it, there is no substance. I think this message is just too clear. And I'm bringing it once more to our attention so that we know. So that those who still continue to deceive themselves, those who still continue to go around and preach federalism, even when they are slaughtering our brothers and sisters like animals everywhere on the Southern Cameroon's territory, that those who still go ahead and have the guts to preach Unitarianism, to preach the unitary state philosophy, should understand that they are on the wrong side of history. There is still time for you to redeem yourselves. And I think this is also a message that should go to Honorable Enwe Francis, that should go to Honorable Enenbile, that should go to Dr. Ngwanyam, and to all of those who belong to that so-called Northwest-Southwest piece, I don't know what it is called again. That you should understand that the only thing that is left for you to do is to join us. Join us as we continue to fight unreservedly to free our land once and for all, so that the people of Southern Cameroons will have the opportunity to live like humans, to live with the dignity and the rights that are inalienable to us. Having said that, let me come to one message that is being peddled by this same slaves who sometimes even don't know, forget that they are slaves in the name of Federalists and Unitarists. They go around peddling this kind of very disgraceful messages. I read one of the things that they send out and they're reveling and distributing. It's on one forum called Boya Online. They say, when Ojukwu realized after 2 years that victory for Biafra independence was impossible, he allowed peace to return so as to stop further loss of lives. In the Northwest and Southwest, our diaspora warlords have realized after 3 years that independence is impossible, but they encourage the war to continue because they are making millions from GoFundMe and kidnapping for ransom. I just laugh after reading that because it only provokes laughter. Whoever told you that independence is impossible? Unlike you who send out these stupid messages, go and ask Mr. Paul Biya what is happening in Southern Cameroons. Did he not tell you people that it was going to take 2 weeks? 2 weeks to completely set our independence dreams aside and into limbo? My dear brothers and sisters, take note. The struggle of the people of the Southern Cameroons to secure our independence, to take back what belongs to us, will only stop when we win. I know sometimes people say, he who fights and runs will fight again. But take note, this is not the first time we are fighting. We have fought and we had the opportunity to run so we could fight again. But we have come to the understanding that he who fights and runs, when he comes back to fight, he comes back totally diminished. So what is clear and certain today is that right now we know that when you are fighting or when you meet a python and you are fighting, the only way you have peace is destroy that python altogether, slaughter it into many pieces and reduce it to ashes, else you will never have peace. But if you allow that python to go so you can come and fight again, it will multiply. That is how your adversaries will keep multiplying. If Mr. John Frundi and his SDF people understood in 1992 that it made sense to fight the fight and finish and not fight and run because you hope to fight again, they will never have extended the sufferings of the people under Mr. Paul Biya. We will never be where we are today. Because in 1992, more than ever before, the people were ready and determined to fight all the way. But they were disappointed by a lame duck leadership that felt that it made sense to sit down and take half measures. I have said it and I repeat it. Anytime you settle for less than you deserve, you will end up for less than you ever settled for. The time now is for us not to get distracted by these stupid messages. We are not in the Biafra days. Mr. Paul Biya expected to have reduced us to rubble and clinched his victory at least 2-3 weeks into his declaration of war. But what is happening today is a clear defeat for Mr. Paul Biya. It's a clear defeat for the Unitarists. It's a clear defeat for the Federalists. Anyone who still doubts this, just watch what will be unfolding in the days ahead as we continue in our relentless march to secure the freedom of our homeland. I'd like you to take this message to Mr. Paul Biya, to take this message to the Federalists, to take this message to the Unitarists, that as long as we live, we will either or die or we will live free. Nothing, nothing is going to deter us as we focus on this objective. You can see for yourself how weary Yaounde has become. Did you see all the French language newspapers turn the fire and all the insults and everything on the United States of America? The U.S. Undersecretary of State for African Affairs, Secretary Tibor Nagy, will be in Yaounde on the 17th of March. That is in just a few days. But I'm sure that the United States of America has seen all of what is written in all the newspapers, because that is a system that is obnoxious to truth, because that is a system that likes to only make believe. That is a system that never likes to be told the reality of the situation. And I think the world, fortunately, is coming to the clear realization that they forced Southern Cameroons into the hands of a useless and evil predator. And it is their singular duty to participate in righting what they made wrong. I belong to the class of people who believe in the hard right as opposed to the easy wrong. The easy wrong is going back to the federal option. The easy wrong is thinking in a unitarist approach. The easy wrong is thinking that we are failing, when in effect, we are winning. Let me close this conversation by extending hearty thanks to the scores of people who are calling daily to express their support for the upcoming All Southern Cameroons People's Conference that will be held in the United States of America. I'd like to thank you sincerely for the tremendous support that we are getting from you, be it from Boston, be it from Germany, be it from the UK, be it from Canada, be it especially from Ground Zero. Thank you so much for all that wonderful support. There are a few people who are still expressing a lot of misgivings simply because they do not understand that in situations like this, what wins is strategy. What wins is approach. What wins is the manner of looking at things. We will not allow ourselves to be dragged on the streets by an unreasonable set of people who still keep thinking that it is only Jira, power that will take us to Boya. We will use all the faculties that God has given us to attain the objectives that we have set for ourselves. I'd like to thank all those who are already preparing for the crowdsourcing events, because there are indications that they are going to hold a lot of community meetings on Ground Zero, community meetings in the various countries around the world, for those who will not be able to make it to the United States of America, so that they will sit together, discuss, and then send us their opinions, send us their positions on the key issues. They will do that from all over the world, and they will send in those inputs that will be invaluable for us at the moment of the very important discussions that we'll be holding on the 29th and 30th of March in the United States of America. And for those of you who haven't registered just yet, because I was looking at the portal yesterday and I noticed that a lot of people are already going in and registering online. For those of you who may not be able to lay hands on the link, I'm going to post this link under this video and I'll pin it as the first message. So when you click to watch this video, look at the link below. Click on it, it will take you to Eventbrite and you will register to be part of this conference. This is an important moment. This is a very defining moment in our struggle. Seize the opportunity. Don't let it slip you by. To God be the glory.